You're not good. You're making noise.
Well, when you put away when you just throw the silverware in there.
Good morning, Tony Dottino, the founder of the USA Memory Championship. And I continue to get news articles and newsletters and or magazines, or continue to read things about our cognitive health or our memories or mental fitness. It's one or the other. They all kind of go together at some point in time. But when you step back and think of mental health, some people think of anxiety and depression. Some people think about their memories. Some people jump to the topic of dementia. Other people jump to the topic of, oh, geez, I can't remember things. So there's a wide diversity of how people are interpreting this whole conversation around mental health, cognitive fitness, dementia, Alzheimer's. And I always come back to all of it through the point of memory. And I see it through the 25 years that we've done the USA Memory Championship. But I go anywhere from an article in Discover magazine, right, in current issue of Discover magazine, to an article I read in the Saturday Evening Post, to articles I read with Dr. Adam here in the ARP bulletin that I get, through a newsletter or through the reading that I get here in New Scientist, Rethinking Parkinson's. I mean, it's just one article after another that all continues to come back to how are we doing in terms of our mental health and cognitive fitness, or it boils down to memory. And I see that every year through the USA Memory Championship. In our USA Memory Championship, we've had men and women for the last 25 years compete to see who's got the best memory in the United States. Well, of course, in the purpose of doing that, what I was trying to do is to demonstrate people there's so much more you could do with your memory than you ever thought possible. Given the belief that it was malleable, meaning you could improve your memory regardless of your age, if you first of all had that belief. Second of all, if you were willing to learn and practice with those skills, short of what I just thought I was just born with a good memory, and if I didn't have those genes, I missed them. And it always takes me back to a memory event we were doing in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, with a group of high school students. And when I got the opportunity to open the class, I asked the students, when do we use our memory? And of course, a young boy got up in the front of the room and Mr. Dottino, is that a trick question? I said, no, it's not a trick question. I said, it's a serious question. When do we use our memories? And he kind of looked at me. He said, Mr. Dottino, we use it in everything we do, from when I get up in the morning and what clothes and what classes and where I'm going. I mean, I use my memory to get to school. I use my memory to come home and my sports activities and the plays that we've got to remember. I mean, I use my memory all day long. And I then asked the second question, when have you learned how our memories work and how we might improve it? And a teacher kind of jumped up at that point and said, we don't teach that. Which then brought me to the third question, which is, isn't it kind of silly, or kind of we're missing the point, that something we use every day throughout our lives, remembering people's names and faces, remember our grocery list, remember where we put our keys, remembering what we might be doing for dinner tonight, and the ingredients we need, what I need for my work, remembering what I need to do to pass a professional exam or a test in school. Isn't it silly that something we do and utilize in our lives all the time, we've never learned the fundamentals of it? Like, how does it work? How do we begin to store information into our brain? And is there a way to store it more effectively? What happens during our sleep? What? Do we ever thought of connecting our sleep to the toxins that are getting purified and the links and connections that are being maintained? So what happens during our sleep hours as it impacts our memories? What happens to the long-term ability for taking information and keeping it in our minds for the long term? Well, what do you mean? What do we know about memory rhythms and how memory rhythms impact our ability to retain things for a day, for a week, for a month, for a year, and maybe forever? So what are the mechanics that take place in the brain that cause these things to happen? And then how does memory impact our ability to be creative or find solutions to problems that we're dealing with in our day-to-day lives or in our family lives and work lives? How do we come up with solutions? How do people like an Elon Musk figure out how to do rocket launches and send rockets off and build a car without a driver? How do people in our lives do things that make such a difference in the way we live day to day, and what's going on in terms of their memories and their creativity and their lives? And so in studying different people, regardless of what I call political affiliations, because that's like a time bomb waiting to go off. More importantly, what's the creative process that takes our memories, things that we've stored, that we can then put in and see new things and new challenges and problems and pull out and create new alternatives and new solutions to solving day-to-day problems with our families, with our relationships, with our professional endeavors, into our academic studies and things. And so that's what has been interesting to me as I passed to you the Discover magazine and New Scientist and ARP and Saturday Evening Post article recently. All of the focus that's now becoming placed on our memories and our mental fitness and our ability to handle anxiety and depression, and how do we better communicate and how do we better retain things that are important to us. And so I always encourage people to just go to our website and look at some of the men and women that have won the USA Memory Championship and what their walk of life was and where they started and what they came from and what they were able to achieve by believing I could improve my memory, taking a chance to then learn some of the techniques and skills, then applying those skills, practicing and learning and practicing and learning those to the point where it becomes innate, and then see how it's made a difference in their lives. And I can go anywhere from Josh Foer, who wrote the book Moonwalking Einstein, to Nelson Dellis and the work that he's done, being a multiple winner of the USA Memory Championships, to Chester Santos, who travels the International Man of Memory, people, Ronnie White, who's helped with military and things. And just look at what these men and women have done. Tatiana Cooley, who was our first 3-year winner, and what she was able to achieve and do. So it's been amazing to think and see the differences that these men and women have made. And even when they're not the memory champion, what it's done for their personal lives and their academic performances and their careers and what they've been able to achieve. And I get the thrill of thinking of how many students we've had that never thought they could go on to the professions that they are able to accomplish, to the point where we've had neuroscientists and medical people. We've had people rise in the ranks of police officers and firemen, pilots and things. So, God, we've had such a diversity of people who have taken that challenge on to believe they could improve their memories and take the time and effort to learn what those skills are and then apply them into the things that make a difference in their lives. So we're getting ready for our 26th USA Memory Championship. It's going to be online in July. And then from July 12th, we'll move on to the live events here in Full Sail University in Winter Park, Florida, on August the 23rd, which will then give us the ability to know who our 26th USA Memory Championship is. So stay tuned. We'll keep you posted on the readings and the importance of things that we're learning about our memories and what the science world is suggesting, as well as the personal aspects of what we're trying to do to continue to get the messaging out to people that, you know what, you too can make a difference in improving your own memory. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.